Italian Football Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Questions from the Italian Football Podcast Patrons, where you, our patrons, decide what the show is about by simply sending in your questions via email, DM on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, but preferably via DM on Patreon. I'm joined, as always, by Carlo Garganese. But before we start, I just want to make a couple of things, clarify a couple of things, because we have been, as an extra thing this summer on YouTube and also on audio podcast platforms, made this show free, so people know what they sign up to when they get it as part of like what's included in the membership package, whether it's YouTube or Patreon, and that's why. You know, we're going to from now on ask people to send their questions only via DM on Patreon, because we've got like 600 patrons, and it's impossible for me to cross check who's a patron and not, and people are sending us questions from every single platform plus email. So I'm going to ignore that from now on. Please just send via DM on Patreon from now on. It just keeps it simpler. As I said, I'm joined by. Yeah. Sorry.
Also, just to add to that, I think we asked this before. When you do send in your questions, yes, please do limit them to an absolute maximum 100 words, no longer than that. Really, if possible, do it shorter, because when the questions are too long, it's not ideal for the listener and the viewer to have to watch a really, really long question. We had one the other day. I counted it. It lasted for 4 minutes. The question, and I think the answer lasted for about 30 seconds. So not just for that, but also because we get so many questions, we can get through more.
We want to get through as many questions as possible.
We really appreciate that you're sending in these long questions. It's fantastic, and I love reading them, and we learn a lot from you guys as well. And they're in great detail, and we want you to have your voice. So we don't want you to not have a voice. I would say that if you want to write something longer to get your voice across, then you can either reply in the chat, in the comment section of the actual pod on Patreon when we post it, and say, look, this is my opinion on the question that I sent in. This is my full opinion. And that's actually great. It's even better, because then that kicks off a discussion. It creates a discussion and a debate. It's not like we're trying to stop you from having that. No. We want you to, and we love it. And that's why until now we've really kind of let it go. It's just that it's becoming, because we're getting so many questions, we've got so many people watching and listening. It just makes everything too long. So 100 words absolute max. Really try and go shorter if you can. Then we can move quick through everything.
Yeah, and we can answer as many questions as possible. And the first question has been sent in from Jack Hacken. It says, "Hi, Nima and Carlo. Question for the pod: can Gian Piero Gasperini do the same thing with Roma academy players as he's done with Atalanta? I saw that Mattia Manini, Filippo Reale, Buba Sangare in defense, Darboy and Alessandro Romano in midfield, and in attack, Cherubini, who returned from loan in Serie B. During the first training, they were all there, and they were part of the training camp in Trigoria. And they've also been doing some good business so far, being so close to signing Wesley, already signing El Ainawi, with Gilardi also being close. I think he's been signed, even Gilardi.
I think they'd still say, in Italy, they say dancing over the last few pennies. I think there's like 0.5 million still remaining.
Yeah, they're negotiating.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen, though.
And he says, can they one-up Milan or Inter and qualify for the Champions League this season? Well, I think we should count Juve in there as well, because if you listen to the Monday pod we did with Mirko Di Natale, that was one of the most depressing transfer deep dives I've ever done in my life. The Juve have to do something in August, because this is just not good enough. It just isn't. But I don't want to turn this question into a Juve question. A little short reflection there.
The doors are open. Yeah, the doors are open for other clubs because of the struggles of Milan and Juventus to get into that top four, just like it last season. Although it was unexpected last season, because we thought Milan and Juve would be fine. But in the end, Milan were a shambles, and Juventus were, in the end, semi-fortunate to just about get in the top four. Not like they really deserve. Well, it's not like they earned it themselves. It was for everyone else being slightly worse. Yeah. So
and also Roma starting the season really poorly last season. I think that the entire appointment of Gasperini is kind of to do what Atalanta did, but in a bigger scale, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's part of the vision of the club going forward to have younger players because for a few seasons now, Roma even they've bought kind of experienced players, especially when Mourinho was there, and even going into last season, and now they're trying to move towards a different style of football with younger players, and of course I would be delighted if Gasperini can do that with Roma, because we know that Roma do produce a lot of Italian youngsters through the system.
They have a fantastic youth team set up. Like they produce
absolutely. So if he can do that, and that's fantastic also for the Italy national team, because hopefully some of these younger players, the Italian ones, can do something as well. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be they're going to be an exciting project to watch in terms of, it's going to be exciting to see what's going to happen with them.
Okay, I agree. Tommo says, Ciao Newman Carlo, hope you're well. Question for the pod. Over 10,000 Laziali gathered in Rome to protest Lotito last week, something that also happened last year too, in previous years prior to this. As we know, Lazio has a transfer embargo, but Lotito won't put in capital, which is said to be around 3 million euros. Once again, as a Laziale, I'm fed up with this circus shit show being run by the biggest clown in Italian football. However, do you guys think there is actually an appeal to buy Lazio? Lazio comes with a reputation, which I'm sure I don't need to detail. The Ultras still have a firm grasp on the club. What appeal for investors is there to touch Lazio? I strongly disagree with any notion that Lotito is good at building projects. I'm tired of this Lazio circus, and I can see Lazio failing even further behind any sort of race for Europe. It makes me wonder why Sarri returned to the club, let alone is still there. Last, I can't even see free agents. Lazio can't even, sign free agents until January, or because Lotito sees no reason to invest in the club. What appeal does Lazio have to any potential buyer? A club that has consistent shadow over it. What would any potential buyer see Lazio as a good investment? Aside from being in Rome, what appeal does Lazio have? Thanks for a great pod. I've been a patron for a while now. You guys are great, and glad to see the pod grow. Thanks, Tom. I really appreciate those words. Just one thing. I think it's more than that. It is Lazio are not globally as big as Inter, Juve, Milan, but they're not, but they do have appeal, and Rome is they have, they own real estate in Rome. It's a big club. It has history. I do think there is appeal there, and it's a very well run club financially. Actually, let's remember, this is not about debt. This is about liquidity more than anything. Very simply put, we've gone through it. Check out the Q&A last week, I think it was, or the week before, where we detailed in what exactly this is about. So I think, I think there is appeal. As for Lotito, I have a different take on this. And I've said all along, Lotito's work has done a fantastic job. If you look at what he inherited when he took over and the results in and of themselves, he wins trophies. He's brought them to the Champions League. This from someone who didn't really want to get into football. He was kind of almost pushed into, we need you to save Lazio after the Cragnotti years and the mismanagement financially there. So if you take all of that into consideration, he's done a good job. But then, nothing in life is just black or white. There's nuance. He is quite a crazy person. He's a bit unstable, and he does crazy stuff, and he says stupid shit, and he does do, it's become a bit of a clown show, this notion. I think as for why Sarri came back, Sarri was very open last summer about how disappointed he was that he didn't get any job offers. He was talking very openly about how Fiorentina and Milan are squads built to play his football, and they didn't even contact him. So I think it was a situation where he didn't have a problem with Lotito, and Lazio is a medium-sized club. He did very well there overall, results-wise, finished second with them even. And I feel that, so it kind of just became one of those things that just became a marriage of convenience. Having said that, though, this summer and the transfer ban is just, I worry for Lazio. I really do. And it's such a shame because, there were things, there was reason to be excited about Lazio last season. There was something there. And then this summer, where they were supposed to, take some sort of a next step, it's just been a disaster.
Yeah. No, and it's completely defeated the whole point of bringing back Saudi, the fact that he's not been able to strengthen. And I have to commend Saudi and say, well done for sticking along, because he had every right and every reason just to walk, because you've basically been bought. I mean, I'm not blaming Lotito. I don't know who's to blame for it this summer, but, Sarri's obviously come and made promises. You're going to be able to spend this amount of money. You're going to have a squad that's going to be able to challenge for this or this. And then all of a sudden, within a few days of being there, you can't spend any money for the whole summer. And you're basically, well, what the hell are you going to do? So, and it's a shame, because I feel like Lazio, having completely revolutionised a year ago, I actually think, okay, they finished the season, they fell apart at the end of the season, but I think they've made really a lot of steps forward to put themselves in a position where, with a good transfer window, I really think they could have definitely could have challenged for the top four, definitely, at least, with Sarri as well. And now, well, no, that's not going to happen now, of course. So it's a shame. It's a big shame. But yeah, definitely Lazio, with such a big club being based in Rome, of course there's a big appeal to buy them. The problem is that what is the same problem for all Italian clubs, and that's why, when Amanda Staveley, when the Newcastle owners were looking at Serie A club, why they stayed away. That's the same issue, but that's the issue with all clubs in Serie A, not just Lazio. But in terms of, if you pick just Lazio as a whole, where it's based, the city, the history, the size of the club, the fan base, of course it's got appeal, no doubt about it.
Agreed. Next question, Don Galzarano says, gentlemen, thank you as always for a great pod and well-balanced coverage. Can you provide your thoughts on what Juventus is trying to do with this mercato? I really don't understand why they continue to unload promising players like Mbangula, who has so much long-term promise. Why give up on players like him when he's likely to be worth triple that value in a few years' time? Are they that financially broke that we have to give away players like that for such paltry sums? And if the finances are really that bad, do you think Elkan needs to either sell the team or at minimum find a large minority investor? I think we covered most of this on Monday with Mirko. The only thing I will say is, I don't think it's financial. I think it's more mismanagement. I don't think there is a clear idea as to what are Juve in 2025. What is the identity? What plan do we have? Where do we want to go? I think Juventus have an identity crisis, and then you don't have a clear sporting management. I think John Elkann has proven time and time again that he might be good at running the family business. He is abysmal at running Juve. I think that is clear now. And he doesn't understand how to run it. And he just keeps making mistake after mistake. Now, granted, Andrea Agnelli, who was good at running Juve, but let's remember that he was forced to resign in disgrace after the Italian SWAT team charged in, and they all had to resign at once. So it's a mess. And I wonder, exactly as he's saying here, what's the point of the Agnelli family keeping Juve if this is going to be Juve?
Yeah, it's listen to our show on Monday, but the bigger picture is the same big picture that I've been talking about for years now, and that is, if the club at the top is mismanaging and running the club badly, then the results are going to be seen on the pitch, on the football pitch, and that's exactly what it is. It's quite clear that John Elkann is not competent to run Juventus Football Club, and as long as he's there, these issues are clearly going to persist, because with Elkann in charge at the top, how many different year zeros have we had now since Agnelli left? And now we've had another one. And then and Elkann, and I even praised him for it, for kind of finally, when he stepped in to sack Thiago Motta, finally getting involved, and it looked like, we're going to have a new, Giuntoli was gotten rid of, and Juventus were going to start a new year zero. But it's not a year zero. Year zero is actually now going to start next year. And I'll tell you why. Because you can replace all the people in charge, the management. But if you don't appoint the general manager, Comolli, until the beginning of July, you don't appoint the technical director till the middle of July. You still, right now, at the end of July, beginning of August, don't have a sporting director and probably not even going to have one until the transfer market is over. Then the whole construction of this supposedly new Juve, this new year of Juve, well, it's too late for these new guys in charge to have any impact whatsoever on this transfer market, or any actual impact that can do anything good. So it's a complete shambles. So that goes above. That's on Elkan. If Elkan was going to make a change and completely revolutionize those that are running the management of Juventus, this should not have been done July, that Comolli was brought on. This should have been done the first week of June. These people should have been ready. He should have made this decision in March and decided, you know what, this isn't working. We need to get new people in. Had everyone lined up, these people to start already, you know, from June, bang, straight in. They can start with this transfer market. Because what we've had is the people basically leading this transfer market that have only just, or haven't at all even got their foot under the desk yet. And it's just a complete shambles. And that's been reflected in this shambolic transfer market, which we discussed in depth. But yeah, the bottom line is that Elkan is no good. The club is being run terribly by Elkan and his people. And you know, look at Ferrari. Look at the absolute shambles of Ferrari for how many years now? Well, what's the common denominator? You know, these people are incompetent. So Juventus need people above the management of Comolli or Giuntoli before that, or the other joker that people used to think dressed well, Arriva Bene and all these other people. You know, just it's a shambles. It's a shambles, and until Elkan needs to go, they need to have, and whether it's Agnelli that comes back, well,
or if they sell the club, honestly, like at this point, it's good to have a continuation of ownership, but almost a century, you know, I think maybe it's time to move on, because the fact that I don't see why the Agnelli family need Juve for social currency purposes anymore. You know, they already have Ferrari, they have other businesses, and they've done everything they can do with Juve. I mean, they've been there for a century. I think maybe it's time for
there has been times in the past where different people within the Agnelli hierarchy have been in charge, because, you know, like even during the Gianni Agnelli years, it wasn't always Gianni Agnelli. He had times when he was the boss, and then times where he stepped aside and his brother was in, or Boniperti, or somebody else was the president. And some of them did really great, some of them didn't do badly, but there was always one really competent guy like a Gianni Agnelli who would come in, and when he was there, they'd get everything back into shape, and they'd start doing well again. Yeah, it feels like, who is that figure now? If they need to turn to someone, who is that?
Are they even interested? I mean, I just don't feel that they're interested in Juve anymore. I don't see. It's not like it used to be. I just feel there's no interest from this generation of the Elkan Agnelli clan to bother with Juve.
Yeah.
And as long as that's true, you know, I don't know.
No, I agree.
Anyway, next question. Vito Campanelli says, "Hi guys, is the TV rights deal that the Premier League has even sustainable? It seems that so much money being thrown around the league that one has to wonder if this is even going to last. And also, Inter has a team on paper to win the Scudetto, but I think Chievo's tactical inexperience will cause them to finish top 4 but not win the Scudetto. Is there a scenario where Chievo can win the Scudetto? If so, how is that even possible? And has there ever been a manager who won the league with this minimal experience in the first year? Thanks." I can't remember in the Serie A anyone.
Saki had zero experience, just like Serie C or lower league. I mean, that was completely bizarre. There probably has been some further back, but since the kind of like 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020s, there hasn't been
but let's remember that. I mean,
Saki, how old was he?
But let's remember with Saki. Saki was at Parma, Fiorentina. Like he'd been coaching since 1973. Maybe not at the top level, but he had been coaching since 1973. Chievo's been coaching for 2 years. youth team most of that 13 matches in Parma. But yes, he did revolutionize football, not just Milan and Italian football. He revolutionized football when he took over Milan and won the Serie A in his debut season. Absolutely. And then, of course, they conquered Europe and they were the best team in the world, and arguably some say the best club team ever that played the game. But with Kivu, it's the fact that he's not been coaching for 13 years. He's not been coaching for 12 years, 10 years. He's coached 13 Serie A matches, and before that, 1 or 2 seasons at youth team level. Now, that is a problem, and no one can tell me otherwise. And, you know, I don't remember any big club, except for when Pirlo was appointed at Juve, doing this in Italy. It's a very un-Italian thing to do. And especially at these big clubs. So it's a risk. It is a risk. And no one can say that it isn't a risk. But of course, he could, you know, the flip side, he knows Inter really well. As a player, as a coach, he was there as a youth team coach. He did all right. He's a respected person. He communicates well with players. Maybe, you know, if the players like him, it seems they've got on the right foot, all of them. If he can sort that out and have them work out well, and then, you know, the players understand that he will learn on the job, and him and his team are able to quickly learn on the job, then, you know, why not? And if you're off to a good start, then, you know, why not, right? But it is a risk, and that's what I've been trying to imprint on people, that this is a huge risk, and it's very, very un-Italian and very unlike Marotta. That's just how.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. Yeah, it's a gamble. This is on the playing side of things. There's no doubts. You know, and if to get Lookman, then on paper they're the strongest. They're definitely the strongest squad in Serie A on paper. But this coach is the gamble. That's the great unknown. But we'll see.
The Premier League thing, my opinion on that. I don't think it is sustainable. I don't think the inflated TV rights deal is sustainable. And I think the Premier League knows that, and I think that's why they want to go directly to the consumer, like on the Netflix subscription model. I think, and that's why it's so brilliant. So I think they're doing a very, very smart thing by doing that. By going directly to the consumer, they take out the middleman. They can slash prices, make them lower, and make them affordable for everybody, and everybody can directly buy a subscription.
Whether or not it's sustainable, it may not be sustainable at the value of these TV deals currently. But even if it does drop, and it may drop at some point, it's still the value of the TV deals that it drops to are still going to be just light years
10
away.
times. Yeah, exactly. Like
light years away. So the idea that there's going to be this big bust, and all of a sudden Serie A and La Liga and the other leagues are going to suddenly catch up with
never going to happen.
Premier League, because it's never going to happen. So if we're talking about it being unsustainable, it's that it's unsustainable at the levels that it is now, and there's going to be a decrease in the value. But at the end of the day, like with any markets, if the demand is there, then the value is going to be extremely high. Maybe not as high as it is now, but the demand of the Premier League, and I hate to admit this, but the demand of the Premier League is light years ahead of every other league.
Not even
we
close.
See that on this podcast, because this podcast, we have, I mean, just to give you an example, we have how many listeners a month are we doing now? Kind of like 200,000, around about 200,000 a month, something like that. We have 600 paid subscribers, you know, which is good. I'm not saying that isn't good, but if we were a Premier League, if we were the Premier League, the English football podcast, our numbers would be, our numbers would be 10 times the amount it is, easily. You know, and there's podcasts out there in English, some of them good, some of them absolutely terrible, with no knowledge, no expertise, no insight, poorly delivered, no personality, are doing 20 times the numbers that we are doing, purely because they're a Premier League podcast, and the interest and demand is so high that's why people are. So unfortunately, that's how it is. And you know, I work in my other job. One of my other jobs, I work, you know, on football transfers, covering transfer news all around Europe, but mostly Premier League. And I see, and you know, I used to see this at Goal. I see the difference between the the people that will click on a Premier League story, and Arsenal, usually like Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, like the top five teams in particular. The numbers the traffic for them compared to if I did a story on Serie A, it's just ridiculous. So unfortunately, the demand is so big now in the Premier League that even if it's unsustainable, there's no hope of us ever getting close to them.
But the Americans are going to save us.
The Americans are going to save us, yes.
Actually, I watched a film, an old film the other day. It wasn't an Italian film, but it was set in Italy with Lloyd Bridges about the World War II. And literally, it's what one of the villagers said.
That's what they said. What
Something
film was
to
this?
that effect. I can't remember what the film is called, but it's an old film with Lloyd Bridges, because I love old movies from 1930s and 40s. And you know, when cinema was actually good.
They weren't saying it in the 1930s already.
No. But it's like it's an old film. It's set in the 1930s, 40s. It's from 1950. But Lloyd Bridges is in there. It's actually a really good film. It's about a war. It's about American POW, American wars. It's about the World War II and American soldiers trying to keep a bridge, you know, against the Nazis and this and that. But one of the villagers does say something to that effect, and it's very, very, very entertaining.
Because it's in all Italian movies from that time.
Well, no, it's just Italy, World War II, American soldier. That is bound to be said. Like, it doesn't matter if it's an Italian film or an American
Not just
film.
the soldier, but the families listening around their radios. Crowding around their radio and listen, news. Look, the Americans.
Brilliant. Right, next question. Henri A says, ciao ragazzi, how much do you follow women's calcio? What do you think about the performance of Azzurri in Women's Euro 2025? Or how do you see the future? Grazie for the good work. Well, we did cover the Women's Euros for 20-25 minutes on the Wednesday, on the last Wednesday. So
pissed off quite a few people, didn't it?
What?
It pissed off quite a few people.
It pissed off a lot of English people. You did. You pissed off every English person
by saying it's not a penalty. Apparently, it was a Stonewall penalty. Apparently,
I have no comment to that. It's nonsense. But yeah, but regardless, like So I just defer to that. Last Wednesday, we did like 25 minutes on this. So go check that out. Vansh B says, "Hi guys, hope everyone is well and good, and thank you for the amazing content. If PSG are going for Chevalier on grounds that Gigio isn't signing a new deal, what's his future? No club can afford his wages other than the Saudi League or PSG City. City just bought Trafford. Saudi League is his absolute prime, would be an embarrassment yet again."
The way you said Trafford there with such disdain. Trafford.
I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it like that. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said it like that. I couldn't see what was being said. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
well, this is an interesting one. Yeah,
I'll tell you what's happened. Let me tell you what's happening, because I spoke to Robin Bernard just this morning about Donnarumma to ask him what's going on. So yes, they're buying Chevalier from Lille. The reason they're buying him is because the contract talks between PSG and Donnarumma have not been going well. The contract expires in a year's time, and Donnarumma is on 12 million euros a year, so it's a big salary. PSG, despite all their state-owned riches, have been trying to cut salaries since their move away from the whole Galactico, Messi, Neymar, Mbappe kind of era, which didn't work. And they're trying to be a little bit more kind of, everybody's kind of equality kind of. And so you've got Donnarumma on 12 million a year, and they're trying to cut it. They're trying to reduce it to a fixed fee that's much lower, but with bonuses based on certain, achievements, winning trophies, performances, appearances, or that kind of stuff. I'm not sure exactly what that's comprised of, but that will increase his earnings towards the actual 12 million, or exactly what he's asking for. Now, Donnarumma's not happy. His entourage are not happy with the offer. It's been a standstill for quite a while, and so basically PSG have had enough, and they've been like, okay, well, we're not getting anywhere. We're going to sign Chevalier, who's kind of like the big up and coming goalkeeper in France, and so that's where we're at. So now it's a case of, well, probably PSG are going to look to sell, because they've been burnt in the past, PSG, more than anyone with this. I don't think it ever works when you have two goalkeepers of big standing who are kind of fighting against each other or rotating, or you've got to have a clear hierarchy with goalkeepers. You've got to have a number one and a number two. Now, you can rotate now and again. You can say, okay, Coppa Italia or French Cup, you can play. The other guy can play Champions League, maybe dead rubbers. That's fine. The odd rest before a Champions League game, like, that's fine. But there's got to be, and PSG know that from the whole Donnarumma, was it Keylor Navas, or I can't remember, Buffon as well. Buffon and another goalkeeper, they were rotating. It didn't work. It backfired. And so I don't think they're planning to do that again. So they're going to probably look to sell him. They're going to look to sell him. That's what it's looking like. So that's where we're at with Donnarumma. And the clubs that, I mean, let's call them links right now. He has had offers. He's had offers from Galatasaray and from the Saudi Pro League. I think they're offering about 20 million a year. That's pretty much, it seems to be almost confirmed. But in terms of interest from the bigger European clubs, that Manchester United, Chelsea, and Man City, the three clubs that have been really linked, but how clear, how reliable these links are, we haven't had any of the big kind of transfer journalists come out and say, this is where they're going. Obviously, there's been Inter for a while, Juventus, which Mirko said on Monday he didn't see anything in it. Inter as well. So,
look, I view this as, I think Donnarumma and his team have played a blinder again. They put themselves in a fantastic position. This season, he has been by far the best goalkeeper in the world. In fact, I think he should be in Ballon d'Or discussions. I'm annoyed that goalkeepers are never in those, defenders and goalkeepers are rarely in those Ballon d'Or discussions. I think Donnarumma should be in one.
Not according to James Overend, the Chelsea journalist.
Who the hell is that?
Did you not see?
Who the hell is that?
Well,
exactly. Know who the hell that is.
James Overend. He's supposed to be one of the biggest kind of like Chelsea.
Oh, is that the guy whose photo you sent me?
Yes.
I said he looks like if Barella was born in Stockport. Yeah.
He looks like he looks like the little kid from The Witches, the 1990 version of The Witches that gets turned into a mouse by the head witch. That's who he looks like. Yeah. But anyway, he said that he wouldn't be an upgrade on Robert Sanchez at Chelsea.
Yeah. Just let's be serious. Don't have time for stupid bollocks like that. Listen, I think he should be. I really think Donnarumma last season, especially in the Champions League, I mean, some of the saves he made were not just once, not just twice, repeatedly, these were game-changing saves. The way he and the defense work together, okay, he's not good with the ball at his feet, but he was by far the best goalkeeper in the world. I don't think anyone else comes close. And I think he should be in Ballon d'Or discussions, because if you look at the importance and the level that he consistently played at last season, there's not very many who played at that in their position. Now, I think they've played a blinder here, because this is the season he's had. He's won everything in France. He's won the Champions League. This is as good as it's ever going to get at PSG. And he knows that. And for him, I think, obviously, if a Real Madrid or Barcelona or, Man City come calling for him, he'll obviously go there. But he's also not stupid, in the sense that he knows that if he waits a year, finishes his contract with PSG, he's in a fantastic position to get an even better contract or a very good contract somewhere else. And if I'm not mistaken, Decreta Crescita is back, and he will have gone. How many years? At least 5 years would have passed, wouldn't it, until he left Milan?
He left after the Euros, so 2021. So it's been 4 years.
So next season it will be 5 if he joins in July. Like if he joins in July 1st, 2026, 5 years will have passed to the day if he signs. That means, if I'm not mistaken, that you can use the growth decree on his wages. That puts Inter and Juve in play. Now, depending on where Inter and Juve are in their projects, and also Donnarumma, and I'm saying if not a Real Madrid or someone like that comes in, which I don't think they will, because he's not the kind of goalkeeper they want. They want 11 outfield players. He's not an outfield player. I think there's unfinished business in Italy. And I really think, exactly like Mirko said...
What's the maths of the Decreta Crescita in terms of, if he's asking for 12 million euros a season, how much will that cost an Italian club then in a year from now?
If I'm not mistaken, you only pay taxes on half of that. So that instead of it costing 24 million a year, it costs 18 million a year. So that he gets net 12, but the clubs pay 18.
Still, that's still too much money.
I get that, but I don't think he's going to get 12 million euros from anyone. I just don't think that's, if he wants that kind of money, then it's Saudi. But I don't think he wants Saudi. I really don't see that. I think he is an ambitious person. I think he wants to win things with Italy. I think he wants to win the Serie A. I think he wants to win lots of things. And the money, it's, if he were to go to a Juve or Inter in a year's time, they can easily afford a 5-year contract at somewhere between 8, 9, 10 net, because it would cost them the same as 15, 16. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's possible. That's doable.
Yeah, it's a lot of money still.
It is, but it would be doable, and it's possible. So that's why I think that
it also depends. It depends also on his ambitions. Does he want to come back to the Serie A?
I think
play for a team.
I think he wants to win.
No, it's sporting ambition. Sporting ambition. I mean, yeah. Like, is he content with going to Serie A? Because if he goes to Serie A, and on a European Champions League level, it's unlikely he's going to challenge for the Champions League. So it's just Serie A. That's the decision you have to make. Plus, there's also obviously the financial side, which I still think is significant. Even
of course it is.
It's like Juventus, for example. I don't know, but then the way they're run, it wouldn't surprise me if they flip flop and change their policy again towards.
You have no right to moan if Juventus buy Donnarumma. Like that is, dude.
Well, yeah, but is it? I don't know whether that would be good for them because the money they'd have to spend. Because the money they would have to spend on him would completely kill any opportunity of improving the rest of the squad. Which
depends on if they get rid of Di Gregorio, who I think will have lots of suitors as well.
Yeah, but he's on low wages. But he's on very low wages. So
yeah, but he'd still be a plus Valenza. No, I'm sorry. Donnarumma is an upgrade for every team that gets.
Of course he is. Of course he is. But I think that he's also playing a dangerous game for this year because you're assuming that he's going to stay at PSG for another year. Well, he's got Chevalier there. Who are PSG going to play? Well, they're going to play Chevalier because they want to build to the future. So what, is he going to sit on the bench for the whole season?
I don't think he's going. I think Chevalier.
Chevalier won't play on the bench because he wants to be in the French squad. So I think that it's a dangerous game. It's a very dangerous game. For him to just like, I don't know what happens, and then what he has to accept, and then who out of the big clubs would actually sign him, and then how much would PSG ask for to sell him this summer if they really are serious in selling him this summer? So yeah, it's a dangerous game for Donnarumma. Yeah. That's what I'll say.
I still think he's in a very good position. I think he's played a blinder here. I think his team has played a blinder. I think they've put themselves in a good position. I still think that even if there is some rotation this summer or this season rather, I just think everyone's going to line up.
Financially, they probably played a blinder. Sportingly, I'm not sure. I think it's a big risk, because if he spends a whole season on the bench, and then you got the World Cup and yeah, big few weeks ahead for Donnarumma. It's going to be very important the next few weeks to see what happens for Donnarumma for this season.
Indeed. Very interesting. Great question, that. Right, next question comes from Matthew Eskender. He says, came across this from James Horncastle, a fellow Serie expert. Can we get your expertise to do a deep dive on what's going on and the impact it has on Milan and Inter Stadium project? So basically, this is about the corruption scandal in real estate in Milan, which has had people, the city's top urban development official has resigned, denying wrongdoing. The mayor Sala is there's calls for his resignation, and there's people have resigned because of this investigation. There's no one has been indicted as far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm aware, and it's too early to say really what has happened because not that much has come out. But what we do know for Milan and Inter's stadium is there's actually a risk now that Italy, if they are to continue to keep the Euros, exclude the San Siro from the stadiums to keep the Euros.
That's a certainty. I think that's pretty much a certainty, confirmed. I saw a report saying that's basically confirmed almost, that when I say confirmed, as in it's pretty much acknowledged that San Siro is not going to be part of the bid.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It's
a shambolic bid. Just take it off us now. I don't even want to hear about it anymore. Honestly, stadiums in Italy, I just don't want to hear anything about it anymore. No interest at all. Sorry, no offense with regards to
but it's an embarrassment. It is an embarrassment, and the arguing goes on as well. And now that Milan and Inter have done.
When I see stories and there's people getting all excited when they write in these stories, you know, and they've obviously been briefed when they do it, so they're just being good little boys by reporting it. And I'm just thinking, what are you getting excited about? Nothing's going to happen. Why are you getting all excited? You know, it's just like. It's like when people get excited about a new president or new prime minister. Oh, things are going to change. Oh, look, what's that? No, it's not. It's the same shit. Nothing's changing at all. What are you getting excited for? That's exactly the same thing that I've got with the stadiums. It's just like,
Amen.
Nothing's going to happen.
Nothing's
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's only going to.
No offense. I'm not. I mean, it's an interesting story about the real estate. Nothing to do with the football. Yeah. It's just an interesting story. But with the stadiums, yeah, just don't waste your energy.
Yeah. Gianmarco the modder says, hey guys, I'm going to ask all my irrelevant nostalgia question now before the season starts. So my question for the next Q&A is, hypothetically speaking, if you could have dinner with one Calcio figure, dead or alive, and ask him one question only, who would that person be? And what would be your question? And as a side note, I'm very excited for next season as a Milanista. If Allegri manages to bring us back to Scudetto, I'm changing my work's desktop background to a picture of his face with his diabolical grin for an entire year. Cheers, guys. Keep up the great work.
I think that's going to happen, but
yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
God, that's a question, isn't it?
Yeah. What this one? One
depends what kind of dinner you want to have. Like, do you want to have a dinner for conversation or a dinner for like like a dinner party?
For me, it's Maradona.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Like,
it doesn't matter what it is. You can start with conversation and then have a party. Like.
Yeah,
but for me, it's Maradona. For me,
some of the stories that he could tell you would be amazing.
I would ask him about the Pope's bathroom thing.
Yeah,
I would also ask him about because I saw he was very alluding to the fact that the Italian football establishment stitched him up in USA 94.
No, not USA 94, 91.
Yeah, USA 94 when he was the doping. He claims that there were interests that stitched him up for the doping, the thing that happened in USA 94. I've seen him say there's
91,
so much.
91 as well.
Yeah.
When he got done, that was payback for Italian IT.
Yeah. Some say that. I've also seen him say things that there's so much I would ask him.
There's so much. Yeah, the Camorra. Did they really throw the championship when Milan won? There's that. There's so much.
Exactly.
The hand of God.
He's probably the person I would love to interview. That I wish I would have
stories. The holy water against Brazil. When they spiked the water and gave it to the Brazilian players during the Argentina-Brazil game, and it weakened the Brazil players because they poisoned the water. There's so much stuff.
I would ask him also about 78, how it felt being excluded, why he was excluded. There's so much. Right. As for Milan, I think you should be excited. I think there is reason to be excited. I think Milan are gonna get it all sorted in the end. There's a month left, and I think Allegri's is safe. You know what you get with Allegri. It's nothing exciting, but it's safe. And I think top 4 is what has to happen minimum, and then who knows if we're in April.
I don't again like Juventus in terms of the club itself. I don't really like what I'm seeing from Milan strategy-wise, but yeah, they have a lot of work to do as well. But they got a good win against Liverpool. Hopefully, they can build on that.
Yeah, I don't care about friendlies.
Leao looked really great. Leao looked fantastic in that game.
Yeah, he does.
Exactly what I said in the pod that I said, he's kind of counter-attacking where he can open up his legs. He can be devastating. And so, yeah, that was a good sign.
Yeah. Leo says, I enjoyed Carlos' analogy in the last Q&A pod when he said some football shirts grow on you like a piece of music. You might hate them at first, but then you learn to like them. It made me wonder for each of you, what is your favorite ever Inter Juve shirt? And if that shirt were a song, what song would it be? Thanks as always for all your great work and stellar content. Well, thank you for that. My favorite Inter shirt, I think the one with the Croce di San Giorgio, the centenary one, the away shirt. That's the most beautiful away shirt Inter has ever had. The most beautiful third kit Inter has ever had is the black and yellow one, Conte's first season. That is just a masterpiece. And the most beautiful Inter shirt that I've ever seen, it's sentimental reason, is 88-89 Fiorucci. That for me is just, it's the home shirt. Those are my top 3 Inter shirts ever. Which ones are you?
Probably the Sony one, or the Sony mini disc one, kind of like the 96, 97 or 97, 98 in terms of the home shirt. I really like that. I think also, if you're going back for a kind of classic, I like the Ariston. Yeah. Do you remember that one from the 80s? That was a kind of an iconic kind of classic one. Away shirts. I like the blue Sony one and the blue Danone one as well.
Yeah, the blue-yellow Champions League one I think is awesome.
That was really cool, wasn't it? Yeah, I like that as well. And also that season, I don't know if it was 94, 95 or 95, 96. There was a very, I'm not even sure. I think they maybe used it once in the Coppa Italia, the third kit, which was a black one. A black Danone one. Bit of a collector's item, which was really, really fantastic. I like that one as well.
Yeah,
you'll have to Google that one.
So, what song would the most beautiful one be?
I don't know.
I'll tell you, Urlando contro il cielo with Luciano Ligabue, because that's an Inter anthem and it's a beautiful song. And having been able, I feel one of those moments of my life where I just felt so proud, so happy, so privileged, honored, was the second star party, the number 20. And when he performed that in a packed San Siro was just, that was an out-of-body experience. So I'm going to say that. Next question, Alex. While I think it's the behavior of a small club to be selling a player like Reinders at this moment in his career, is selling him and getting Modric and Ricci an upgrade for the Milan midfield? I think you guys touched on it on your last Monday pod, but to me the problem at Milan last season is the defense had no protection. With Leao, Pulisic and a good striker all firing, would Reinders have been a bit of an unnecessary luxury? And of course he would help and add to the number of threats in the Milan attack, but given the budget of a Serie A club like Milan, isn't it way more important to have Modric and Ricci? What are your top 5 Serie A players coming from islands that former European monarchs were exiled to? Totally joking. Thanks for the great work through the summer and give me something good to listen to while I plug away on Excel. Well, thank you for that. And of course, he's referring to the Napoleon being exiled to St. Helena.
Oh, yeah.
What was it, off the coast of Italy? What was the name of the... Yeah, exactly. I think this is a good point by Alex, and this is why I'm not as negative about Milan as you are. I think they are. I think they actually. It's for the first time since Redbird have full control. I actually like what they're doing, or I think there's at least a structure there. There's something that resembles logic.
I think the midfield is the key. Like if that midfield can click with Modric, with Ricci, and if they get Yashari, which I still think they will get him, but it's bloody hell, it's a struggle. Just pay the extra 1.5 million for fuck's sake. You've made how much? Over 100 million this summer from all these sales. Just pay the extra.
Just like Inter and Lookman, penny pinching 2-3 million euros, and it's just turned into a goddamn joke.
Yeah, I mean, I think both of them will happen, but I mean, it's just for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? It's just. Yeah, but especially with Milan. I mean, Milan have got that, made a lot of money this summer. Inter haven't, but you know,
Inter made ridiculous amounts.
Yeah, they made a lot of money last year. But you know what I mean? Like Milan have made these sales and made all this money, and they're replacing the players that they've sold all this money for. Just you know, and they've oversold them. You know, so just pay the money for Yashari and get him on board. But yeah, if that clicks, then yes, I think that there is the opportunity to be a little bit more optimistic with Milan. If, you know, Pulisic and Leao continue to click, which they did in that Liverpool game, I mean, I think they've got the possibility to do really well this season. So, yeah, then we can be a little bit more optimistic with Milan, I think. Yeah. Playing once a week, you know, and there is a chance.
Yeah. Good point. Christoffer Capoferro says, I'm a Norwegian Lazio fan since 2008 and a huge fan of the pod. Great work. I had the pleasure of living in Rome 22-23 season, but unfortunately, this was not the same Lazio as the glory days of Sven-Göran Eriksson. Since I started following the club, those heights have felt like a far-fetched dream, except for 2 seasons, one under Simone Inzaghi and the other one under Maurizio Sarri, where it felt like we could truly compete with the Serie A giants. My question comes from a bit of jealousy towards Napoli, who have managed to reach the top in recent years. Can Lazio achieve something similar under Lotito, or what would need to change, both short-term and long-term? Also, what are the top heights you can realistically see the current Lazio squad reaching with some luck, if they manage to keep some of the attacking mentality Baroni brought and improve defensively, especially considering that Milan, Inter, Juve, Roma are not currently at their best? That's a great question, and thank you for the kind words. Lazio, we interviewed Sven-Göran Eriksson and Mark Fish and Paula Kahn from that Lazio era, and of course Vieri as well. Go to the Patreon page, click collections, click interviews, and scroll. All our interviews are there, and you can listen to it. Sven talks about his Lazio days where he was in his Volvo and fans were jumping on the roof. He was trying to drive home after having won the Scudetto.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, it's a brilliant story, and lots of great stories. So make sure to check that out. As for Lotito and reaching the Napoli heights under De Laurentiis, 0. As long as Lotito is there, there's 0 chance. I've always maintained on this pod, and I'm sure Christopher, as you listen to this pod, I've maintained Lotito is excellent at year 0 and year 1. It's the year 2 and 3 he just seems incapable of doing. De Laurentiis has managed to do that whilst maintaining financial stability, which is a very difficult thing to do. 2 Scudetti, Coppa Italia, Champions League, and so on. As long as he is there, Lotito's there, there's 0 chance of that happening. What happened in Simone Inzaghi during COVID season was the perfect storm. I never thought that season that they would be able to win it until Inzaghi's Lazio beat Maurizio Sarri's Juve in what is one of the best performances I've seen of any Lazio side tactically ever. It certainly is, in my opinion, Simone Inzaghi's greatest achievement tactically in a one-off game. That game is a tactical masterclass. It's the game that clinched it for me about Simone Inzaghi. I really think that they could have won that Scudetto that season had it not been for COVID, because they looked unplayable in that entire stretch. So it's a big what if, but I think there's zero chance. And I gotta say, I like you loved Lazio, Sarri under Lazio. Lazio under Sarri the first time around. I thought the football they played was just stunning.
The first season, the first season. They fell away a little bit second season, but I think Europa League is the absolute max they can aim for this season.
Next question, Ahmed Khaled says, with rumors circulating around, are you fine with selling Pavard as a big player this year if there was a good offer? I mean, I'm indifferent to this, especially if this means confirmation of Lookman and Leoni, not minus Thuram. My preference will still be to let go of Bisic, but I can live without Pavard. Additionally, why can't Inter cough up 5 more millions and just buy Lookman? I really don't understand this, and it's frustrating to say the least. Lastly, from the financial and options available, I would keep Hakan, but what do you make of him staying after the fiasco that happened without any reason at a glorious friendly tournament that meant nothing? Lots of questions there. The first thing I would say is I would absolutely not sell Benjamin Pavard, especially when you have Francesco Acerbi and Stefan De Vrij there, and you don't want to weaken your defense. And selling Pavard to keep Bisic is weakening the defense. Leoni is a great talent, but it's not a guarantee. So I absolutely want to keep Benjamin Pavard. I'd rather sell Jan Bisic because even though I think he's a good player, I don't see him improving much more than this level. Whilst Pavard, we know what he can do in the back three to the right, and if he actually, the potential is there. We've seen him do it, and I think he's been good defensively. I don't understand where this notion of people shitting on Pavard comes from. I don't understand it at all. I wonder what Inter they've been watching. As for the Lookman story, I just defer back to what we said about before. This is frustrating and annoying. It's a bit of a shit show. Arguing over a couple of million here and there, risking losing the player, and him going somewhere else is just, it's just. I mean, it's one thing if it's 10 million. We're talking 3 to 5 million euros.
When it's such a bargain as well. I'm sorry, but if you get,
I don't understand when you say it's a bargain. How is it a
massive bargain?
How is it a bargain? He's 27 years old.
He's the best player in the
see that money come back.
He's been the best player in Serie A. You signed the best player in Serie A, or one of the top 3 players in Serie A the last 2 seasons for 45 to 50 million. That's a bargain. If you get Lookman of Atalanta at Inter, you've got an absolute phenomenon, and you've signed him for 50 million. That's a massive bargain, huge bargain. That's unbelievable. And you look at the price that some of these other Serie A players go to Premier League clubs. Or Reinders, look how much Reinders went to. He's only about a year and a bit younger than Lookman. He's 26, and Lookman's 27. And Reinders went for 70 something million or whatever it is. It's a massive bargain. It's an incredible deal. And to be penny pinching over a couple of million when you can get him for less than 50 million, you can get him for 45 plus 5. That's how much. That's what they will do the deal. 45 plus 5. You bid 42 plus 3. That's your last bid. Just put it up to 45 plus 5 and get him. You're getting a phenomenon if you get the Lookman Atalanta.
Well,
not if you get the Atalanta Cook Miners or Atalanta.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not just that. It's not just that. It's also the fact that you've got your coach who wants to play a 3-4-2-1. He wants Lookman. It's an important part of his project. It's an important part of his deal, and you're just going back and forth like this. It's frustrating.
I think it will happen. But Cassie's just come out now and says that Lookman wants to leave Atalanta. So once you have these kind of public statements,
said that?
Yeah. So once you have these kind of public statements, I think that he said, look, we have a good relationship with him, but we've got to sell our players at the right time and the right valuation. So it's going to happen, I think.
I hope so.
It would have to be a complete mess up from Marotta a la Verratti kind of levels if they don't get him now when you're so close to the asking price.
Yeah. I agree with that. But yeah, I just thought Percassis. So it's after this statement, it does feel like something. Yeah, I'm a bit calmer after having read that. I just saw it now. Breaking news as we're doing. As for Hakan, I think it's a huge mistake. I want to go on the record and say this. I think keeping Hakan Çalhanoğlu is a ginormous mistake, especially if the reports are true, and I know they are, that Kivu thinks he's a number 10. This is insanity. This is why you don't appoint an inexperienced coach. We've already done this song and dance. Hakan was abysmal as a number 10. He was okay as a number 8. He was world-class as a number 6 in a specific system. Playing him as a number 10, one of the number 10 roles has already been tried, and it was a disaster. And now he's 30 years old. You decided to keep him. You could have cashed in last summer to Bayern Munich. The Galatasaray Fenerbahce, the offers didn't come in. I think this is a huge mistake. There's no need to keep him, especially if you're looking at other midfielders, and your midfielders are going to play a double pivot, which means that you don't really need to have 7 midfielders for 2 positions. It's just, I think this is a huge mistake. And playing Hakan as a number 10, my God, have people forgotten how bad he was there? Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not. This really, really pisses me off. It really, really pisses me off. And this is what worries me as well. Like, it really, really worries me. Really worries me. Right, next question. Jamie Drum says, hi guys, my question this week is for you is, what other English-speaking podcasts based on Italian football or individual Italian football clubs do you guys enjoy listening to? I don't really listen to many other podcasts or sports podcasts. I listen to lots of political podcasts. And I've got quite a few. But if I'm talking football podcasts, I listen to the what are they called? Interviews podcast. That's an Inter podcast, and also the Inter Extra one, which is new. Those are the ones I listen to that are Inter ones. Other than that, I really don't have time to listen to many more football podcasts. Not just Italian ones, but just generally, because between doing this podcast and everything else that, working in football, I need to have some balance in my life. Otherwise, it can get too much. You can OD on a good thing. So I don't really listen to very many other football podcasts, not just Italian ones, but just generally.
Yeah, same. I mean, those ones you mentioned, I don't get much time to listen to other podcasts either. I do occasionally when I'm traveling, like when I get a minute, I try and catch up on a little bit of news here and there. The English ones, Uncle Sharma for Inter, if I want some news. For Juve, Just Juve keeps up to date with the Juventus stuff. But that's about it, really. The Italian ones I listen to Nicola Scheda, Alfredo Pedula, new during the transfer market though, but those are Italian. Yeah. Those are during the Italian. They're good because they do a quick 8-10 minute video every day and they just tell you like what's happening. Like what?
But I don't count that as a podcast.
It's not really a podcast, but it's useful. Yeah. It's useful for just keeping you right. This is the latest situation, and it will just update you. And to be honest with you, those are the only really I listen to them more for news, just so that it just saves you time when you want to just know what's going on quickly. Or here's 10 minutes, a 10-minute pod. Here is all the Inter news. Here's all the Milan news. Here's all the Juventus news, and then here's all the transfer news. Like I find them useful really for that. In terms of actual podcasts like we do, I don't really have the time to listen like I'd like to be honest with you.
Yeah, same. Right, next question. Claudio Cauteruccio asks, after going to see Oasis at the weekend at Wembley, I'm suffering with a massive post-gig blues hangover. It was just a special gig, just had something magical about it. Definitely the best gig I've ever been to. So my question to you boys is, what's the best gig you've ever been to? What bands are you into? For me, seeing Depeche Mode in 2009 in my favorite festival in Sweden, Arvika, and they literally went bankrupt because of it, because they were working up to getting Depeche Mode, and then they had Depeche Mode. That gig, that festival was just magical. But other than that, I've seen Bob Dylan. He was my first concert with my mum. I was 8 years old, the first one I saw, and I remember it vividly. And since then, I've seen him 15, 20 times. He's the artist I've seen the most. And he's always unbelievable. And I have to say, during the welfare tour, Kiss, like, they were unbelievable. These 70, 75-year-old men putting on that show like they were 25 was unbelievable. Guns N' Roses was fantastic. I've seen them a couple of times. Oh, there's so many. But yeah, no, the Depeche Mode is just that was just still on my thing.
I haven't been to many gigs. Gypsy Kings, I love the Gypsy Kings. That was probably 2000 and...
Oh, I haven't seen them. I'd like to see them.
Yeah, they're amazing. They are, but the group's changed now, because some of them have got a bit older. So some come in, some come out. The Reyes brothers, they're fantastic. So I love the Gypsy Kings. I love it when they do sort of like covers of like Italian songs as well. Like they did a few of them. They did Volare. They did, what was the other one they did? They've done a few like covers of other songs. Hotel California was really good as well. So yeah, I love the Gypsy Kings. But I'll be honest with you, I don't go to many. I've been to a few festivals over the years, but not like specifically gigs for like one band. Because I'll be honest with you, this might come as a surprise to many people. I'm not a fan of modern music. I'm not going to lie. I don't. I think that. I mean, don't get me wrong, Claudio. I love Claudio. Claudio's a Bedford boy, great guy, and I would have loved to have gone to that Oasis concert. I would have done.
Yeah, I would have loved.
It would have been fantastic because they haven't been around for so long, and I do like Oasis. I think they're great for their era, for the 90s. They were great, but post 90s, I'm sorry, but the at least if you want to say commercially, I'm sure there's lots of great bands that we haven't heard of that just don't get a commercial platform. Sure, there is. But in terms of commercial, real musical talent, bands, fantastic groups, fantastic music, I'm sorry, but for the last 25 years, there's been fucking nothing. Yeah. And it's terrible. Like if I was around in the 70s or the 60s or the 80s, I would have been going to gigs all the time because the musical talent and the legendary bands and singers and also performers, like people can't perform nowadays. People can't, again, like what we always joke about the younger generation having no social skills. Like they can't interact with crowds. The youngsters.
Well, it depends. I mean, I think that depends
not like the 60s, 70s.
I think it depends. I think in English, I think you're right. But I think right now, Italy is going through a golden age when it comes to musicians and artists, whether it's the poetic storytelling of Ultimo and the connection he has with live with 80,000 people in Rome's Stadio Olimpico or San Siro, or Alpha, whether it's the audiovisual art that Blanco and Mahmoud produce, or just the unbelievable coolness of Annalisa. I mean, these are just off the top of my head. Italy it's a golden age for Italian music. It is genuinely unbelievable. I think I just love what they do. I mean, it's so beautiful. It has something that they have actually something to say. They have an art to express, and live they look unbelievable. That's probably going to be my next gig. Hopefully, I want to see Ultimo live. I want to see Alpha live. I want to see Blanco live. I want to see all of these guys live. I think they are unbelievable.
Would you say that they're better though than some of the legends though? Like, would you put these?
Let
me say this: would you put them on the same level though as, I don't know, an Eros or a?
All I can tell you is this:
Alban or one of these.
All I can tell you is this: that Eros Ramazzotti himself is in love with Ultimo. Like, he just go read what he said about him. Read what these older Italian legends themselves say about this generation. I would say that when it comes to lyrics, I'd say Alpha and Ultimo write some of the most powerfully meaningful, poignant, pertinent lyrics I've ever heard in any language.
Yeah. Well, what I'll say for sure is English, in English language, in terms of English artists, American artists, the last 25 years has been abysmal. I'm sorry.
It has. Abysmal. I mean, commercially, yeah. But I mean, then again, you have like artists like Duran Jones and the Indications and Aaron Fraser.
I mean, for example, it was the 40th anniversary of Live Aid. And now Live Aid was probably overly commercial, right? It was overly commercial. But even if you put that aside, right, forget about the cause and everything and all the fake politics and all that. But if you look at the list of artists and bands in both the American and the UK audience, imagine if they did a Live Aid today, right? And they got all the so-called best artists around from England and America and put them on, did 2 concerts. What the absolute state it would be. Like today's artists, not getting the Rolling Stones at 80 years old and putting them on the stage today. I mean, like getting the ones that are kind of under the age of 40 and putting them on it'd just be pathetic, So that's my issue with today's.
No, I don't think they've got anything of any, they got nothing to say. There's no art involved. It's just packaging. Yeah. It's a pretty packaging. That's all it is. I don't think there's for me, music. There should be an artistic element to it. There should be something that is there to say something. I mean, like I said, right now, if you look, I've tweeted this out. Alpha and Ultimo, their lyrics. It's worth learning Italian just to listen to their lyrics. I mean, Anna, off his latest album, is one of the most beautiful songs I have ever heard in my life in any language. Like, but so I really just recommend it to people that speak Italian to just right now. Italian music is unbelievable, and I think it's awesome too, because I think it's nice to see this generation of Italian musicians and artists express themselves in their own language, to their own, in their own country, and it's like we've gone full circle. There's lots of foreign influences, lots of American influences, because the world is so globalized, so all the influences are there, but they've managed to combine that with the Italian songwriting tradition, and what's come out is something so beautiful, so interesting, that it's just I think it's just unbelievable. It really is an absolute joy to listen to these songs. The last 5-10 years have been just unbelievable for that. Honestly, it's been unbelievable for that, and long may it continue. I'm excited now to see what they produce. You know what I mean? I haven't felt that about music in a long while in any genre, but when it comes to Italian music, I'm really excited when I hear that Annalisa's going to release a new record, when I hear that Blanco, Mahmoud, all of these guys are going to release new records. I'm excited. I'm really excited to see what they come up with. And it's just, so yeah, if you speak Italian, now is actually a golden age for that. So definitely check that out. And Claudio ends, he says, check my Insta or Twitter page for a video of Oasis, Liam and Noel and Liam walking on stage. And see Liam go for a cheeky piss before going out to sing to 80,000 people. Such a bizarre, normal thing made us laugh for some reason. That's brilliant. That's such a him thing to do, isn't it? Brilliant. Right. Penultimate question comes from CJ Barilla. He says, what is the greatest combined Italy and England national team 11 of all time?
Ooh.
Right. So, Carlo, you want to read out each position, or should I read out each position?
No, you read out each one, and I'll decide.
Yeah. I'll say if I say I have something that I disagree with, I'll say that.
Yeah. I think maybe say it at the end, because we're going to use this on social. So
yeah, no, I'll just say it after each position. It's just easier, because rather than just say at the end if I disagree with one. Right. Okay, so
let's do it.
Start with goalkeeper. Italy. Who's Italy's great? Like Italy. Who are the candidates and who's your winner?
No, you read out both, and then I'll pick mine.
No, because I don't agree with Buffon. I think they should be.
You can just say these are Carlo's picks. Carlo's going to pick them. Bloody hell! You always the mid-car.
All right, goalkeeper. Carlo's picked Buffon for Italy and Gordon Banks for England. I would have had Zoff.
Oh, you're butchering this game. No, we've got to use this on social. Present it in a way that it's usable for social.
Okay.
Of course, this is going to be great content, isn't it? Let's do the greatest Italy-England 11 of all time. Goalkeeper, Gianluigi Buffon or Gordon Banks? There, and then we'll go on from there.
Okay.
All
right. So we're doing goalkeeper. Right, I think right back, centre back, defensive midfielder, playmaking midfielder, attacking midfielder, number 10, support striker, number 9. Let's start with the goalkeeper. Italy, Buffon. England, Gordon Banks. Who are you picking?
It's got to be Gigi Buffon, the GOAT.
It wouldn't even be. Banks wouldn't even be top 3. It's Zoff, Buffon, Zenga. Next, right back, Bergomi or Kyle Walker.
Giuseppe Bergomi.
Yeah, Bergomi. Left back, Maldini or Ashley Cole.
I mean, it's not even a debate, is it? Paolo Maldini.
Facchetti. Or Maldini. I mean, I consider more Maldini a centre back, but yeah, fair enough. Centre backs. Italy, Franco Baresi, Gaetano Scirea. England, Bobby Moore or Rio Ferdinand.
Again, I'm going to have to go with the 2 Italians, Franco Baresi and Gaetano Scirea. I mean, Bobby Moore's a legend. Ferdinand was a great player, but yeah, has to be Baresi and Scirea. Baresi's the best centre back of all time.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm going to go with I wouldn't change anything there. Defensive midfielder, Italy, you've gone with Tardelli. England, Declan Rice.
Has to be Marco Tardelli. He was
Can I ask why you haven't put Pirlo there? Because I know you're going to put him in a different, but like, why would you not? Like, because Declan Rice is more of a playmaker, isn't he? More like
he's definitely not a playmaker. He's but
he's more of a regista, isn't he? That's what Arsenal fans keep telling me.
Well, they're stupid if they think he's a regista. He's not a regista. He's a holding midfielder, and he breaks he breaks up the opposition attacks. That's what he does. He's not a regista.
Premier League fans delusional. Why I never. My monocle is going to drop. Playmaking midfielder, Pirlo or Beckham?
I mean, that's an easy one, isn't it? Andrea Pirlo, of course. I mean, I think Pirlo's got to be Italy's greatest ever central midfielder.
Agreed. He's magical. I remember watching an interview with Ancelotti saying he's got the most magical feet he's ever seen of an Italian player. Attacking midfielder, Gianni Rivera or Gaza, Paul Gascoigne?
It's got to be the original golden boy, Gianni Rivera. He won the Ballon d'Or, and his performance in the 1969 European Cup final remains one of the greatest individual performances I've seen in a major final. But I love Gaza, great guy, and I hope he gets back to good health and everything. Wonderful player, but yeah, there's again not really any debate there.
Me too, agree. The number 10 role, Francesco Totti or Bobby Charlton?
This is the only one that I'm going to go for an England player. I mean, obviously, Francesco Totti, absolute legend. But if we're talking about, we're doing an Italy-England 11. Who was better? Was Francesco Totti better for Italy than Bobby Charlton was for England? No, he wasn't. Bobby Charlton was better for England than Totti was for Italy. Does that mean that I think that Bobby Charlton was a better overall player than Totti? That's not the debate. The debate is who was better for their country. Charlton for England or Totti for Italy. Now, Charlton, was the star of the 1966 World Cup, winning, which England won. Fantastic at 1970 World Cup. I'm not just even talking about his club form, because this is about the national team. This isn't about the club team. So we're not talking about Man United. Even for Man United, he's maybe their greatest ever player, maybe. So yeah, I'm going to go for Bobby Charlton.
I love Bobby Charlton too, and I agree with everything you said, except that Totti was Totti. Like, it's just he was. I dream of seeing Italian player of his talent again. Like
So
literally. Like
so do I. But for the
I
Italy national,
I don't think we'll ever live to see another Totti or Baggio. Like
no, but for Italy national team, he had a
good
at best career for the Italy national team. Euro 2000, he was fantastic. 2006 World Cup, he played with an injury and got a few assists, mostly from set pieces, but was it didn't have an outstanding World Cup. Apart from, and other than that, he disappointed for Italy. So, whereas Bobby Charlton had an incredible career for England, and that's the reason why.
Support striker Roberto Baggio or Wayne Rooney? Of course, it's Baggio. No,
yeah, that's an easy one. Yeah, Roberto Baggio, who
I think Wayne
there's
Rooney,
an argument to say he's the best ever Italy national team player.
Yeah,
Baggio.
But I have to say, I think I really like Wayne Rooney. I think people don't respect him enough. I think they view him as something that he's not because of how he looked. He was a technical player. He was a wonderful player.
Yeah, he was a brilliant player. But again, I think he didn't have a particularly, even though he broke records for England.
Yeah.
If you look at him in tournaments, again, Euro 2004, he was fantastic. And then he got the injury against Portugal, which if he hadn't got that injury, who knows what could have happened that tournament. But after that, he was a disappointment in every other major tournament that he played in for England. So, it's again one of those. But even if we were going to compare them club wise, I mean, you'd still go with Baggio. But national team, I mean, yeah, Baggio for sure.
Yeah, Baggio and Totti for me are like, I'm never going to see, like, I've kind of accepted that we're never going to see Italian talent at that level, if that makes sense. Like, I've accepted it. I don't want to be like depressed people, but I don't. Yeah, it's just he was unbelievable. And then the number 9, Gigi Riva or Harry Kane?
Harry Kane, fantastic. He's been one of the best strikers of his generation. I like him. He's a great guy as well. I've interviewed him. Fantastic person. But yeah, Gigi Riva. I mean, the guy was just a
monster.
Monster. His goal record is insane. It's almost one goal in one goal a game. Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah. One of the best left foots I've ever seen. So I have to go Gigi Riva. Yeah. I mean, 10. Yeah, I've got 10 of the 11 players I've got are Italians. And I'm going to get hate for that again, but I'm sorry, but like,
no, you shouldn't. I agree with all of them except for the goalkeeper. Which
you'd probably go for 11, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would go for 11. I do respect Bobby Charlton a lot.
Yeah, but you're basing this on my picks. I mean, like, if you wanted to do your own 11 versus 11,
I wouldn't change.
You probably still would have 10 or 11 Italians.
Yeah, it would be 11. No, it'd be 11. It'd be 11 Italian players. There's no doubt about that. But because I'm sorry,
but even if people say, well, we picked a 4-3-1-2 formation here,
pick as many formations as you like.
Because that is generally what teams sort of played up until it's only the last kind of like 15 years. Everyone's playing wingers, but even if we went for a winger system, I don't know which English players I'd put in as wingers over Italian players. I don't think I would.
Who else? Yeah, but okay, but just like, for example, central defenders, Cannavaro, Nesta, Baresi, Scirea. I mean, what? Who even comes close? I even put Maldini there. Like,
Bobby Moore's the only one that comes close. He was a legendary centre back, but but again, he doesn't. No. He doesn't get over those players, centre back.
And also, I would even prefer like Steven Gerrard over Declan Rice as a defensive midfielder. I know he didn't play there for a long.
Well, I tried to pick players that were specialists for their roles, but Gerrard was always crap for England as well in major tournaments. Never had a good international tournament.
Yeah,
ever.
No. But I mean, in terms of talent and what he's probably my.
Well, I picked these players based on national team. I haven't included like club stuff, And,
that's fair.
That's fair. Honestly, I couldn't. I think you were a bit harsh on Gordon Banks. He was a legendary goalkeeper.
But he's not better than
I'd have him above Zenga, definitely. He made the greatest saves.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He made one fantastic legendary save against Pele, which everyone talks about. It is probably one of the greatest saves of all time, one of, if not the best, whatever. But
I love Zenga. I love Zenga as well, but you can't say that Zenga had a better Italy career than Banks did an England career. It's not even close.
Zenga's Italy career was outstanding. He just didn't win the World Cup.
Yeah, but he played in two tournaments, Euro 88 and World Cup 90, two good tournaments. But I mean, Gordon Banks was the best goalkeeper at the 1966 World Cup, which England won. He was probably the best goalkeeper in 1970, made the best save of the tournament. 68, they got to the semi-finals as well. He was the best goalkeeper in the world during that time. For me, yeah, Gordon Banks was brilliant. I would definitely have him above Zoff. Yeah, Zoff and Zoff is a closer one, but Buffon. I mean, Buffon, I'd always have him.
Zoff is number one, and then Buffon, and then Zenga, and then then Banks. But it's tough. That's where it's tough. But the other positions, I think, like it's not hatred. It's just. It's not my fault. Like, I mean, Italy had a golden age these years, for decades, producing some of the best ever players to play in certain positions. It's just that simple. Maybe we'll see what happens if England produce something similar in 10, 20 years' time. We'll have this.
No, if you picked an Italy versus England 11 of the last 5 years, then you're going to have quite a lot of England players in it.
Yeah,
so it becomes different, doesn't it? It becomes different.
Exactly. Agreed. 100%. Right. Next question. Sandro Mehic says, hi, Nima. Hi, Carlo Nima. You're saying 45-50 mil is a bargain if Inter gets Lookman. He's about to turn 28 and not getting any younger, nor is he getting faster. And for 50 million, you can fully reinvest in the defense with Leone and De Winter. That has to be a priority for Inter. Bastoni is the only one you can rely on. Carlos Augusto is not a centre-back. Acerbi, De Vrij, two turtles, fine in a low block. Pavard is more outplaying paddle than football. Bisek is not consistent at all. Don't get me wrong, Lookman is a great player, and he would be a great signing. But where does it leave Thuram Boni? We're going to have three players for one position. I think Inter has to start building the team from the back forward and going into the next season with the same lineup from the 5-0 loss. It's not going to be pretty. What's your take on it? If Inter switch to a 3-4-2-1, who will play behind Lautaro? For sure, Lookman if they land him. But the other one, right now, it's Fratesi who can play that role like he's done for the Azzurri, maybe Sucic. And last, what do you think of the Donnarumma situation? Where is he heading? We've already discussed Donnarumma. Look, 3-4-2-1 that Inter play. Lookman, Thuram, Lautaro, Lookman and Boni, Lookman, Thuram, and Lautaro. Those are the ones that can play in that two behind the one position. I think it's going to be a very fluid. The only one that is going to be in that prima punta position because he can't play in one of the two is Esposito, Pio Esposito. The others are very fluid in their movements, in how they link up and so on. So I actually think it's going to be Lautaro, Boni, Thuram, and Lookman. There are four players for two positions. Fratesi could be an option. Apparently, Çalhanoğlu is an option, which I think is absolute madness. But yeah. That's where it is. I think bargain. I also take issue with the bargain thing. I don't think 45-50 million is a bargain for any Serie A club. And also Lookman is great, but like I said, it's 50 million, 45-50 it's not a bargain. It's a good price. I think that's what Lookman is worth. I don't think it's a bargain. But yeah, that's kind of where we are. We kind of answered most of these things as well. Fratesi, we'll see. I mean, it seems that he's one of the two as well.
You need to buy experienced players. You can't just buy everybody, just youngsters. You've already bought Boni, you've brought Esposito's in the squad now. Sucic, Enrique's pretty reasonably young and experienced, but you can't just buy young players. No, if you add those ones that you've just mentioned, De Winter and Leone as well, you can't.
Agreed.
We've seen teams like Juventus try and go all youngsters and then just completely flop.
No. You need to have balance. You
need to have balance. So Lookman is the right age, experience. He can come and hit the ground running. So yeah, it's absolutely the right kind of sign that you need to supplement the younger players you've already bought.
Agreed. Last question. Conradicus says, Ciao Nima, Carletto, hope all is well. I got a question about player transfers. Is the normal process that a potential club agrees personal terms with the player's agent and then talks to the club? I also see reports of clubs talking to each other and agreeing before discussing with a player. I get confused on this as how is a potential club talking to a player different to tapping up? Can you tell us about any real scandalous tapping up style transfers that happen in the Serie A? Well, I mean, the agent can speak to whoever he wants, can't he? It's the player that can't directly talk to a club without the permission of the club that he's under contract with, right?
Yeah.
So
officially, strictly, legally, but we all know it goes on. So it always happens. It always happens. That's just how it is. Yeah. Tapping up happens, and you have ways of getting around it. But yeah, officially, that is the way. Yeah.
The really scandalous tapping up is during Moggi Cannavaro. I mean, that is just unbelievably scandalous that he was allowed to do that, and then Moratti was such a pushover accepting Carini is just unbelievable. But we've seen,
you can't blame Moggi for the fucking Carini Cannavaro deal. That's just
I can't blame Moggi for telling Cannavaro to demand a transfer away from Inter when he's under contract at Inter. I most certainly can.
That happens all the time. Really.
I most certainly.
It happens all the time.
Well,
when players want it out, they go on strike. Like Gyökeres has just gone out on strike, and players refuse to play, and players demand to leave. I mean, that's just normal.
I don't think
that's just normal business.
That Berta and Arteta called Gyökeres and told him to do that. Moggi called Cannavaro and told him to do that. This is not an opinion. That we have phone calls, wiretaps.
It can happen directly. It can happen indirectly. It happens all the time. It really does.
Moggi did it directly, and he did lots of things directly.
You can't. Whatever happened or didn't happen. If you agree to sell Cannavaro for Carini, that's because
the reason he didn't agree to the reason they did is because he forced his hand. But Moratti was too much of a pushover. I would have said I wouldn't have allowed it. I would have just let him rot
because
on the
you
bench.
Have to be stupid to do a swap deal like that.
Well, it really wasn't. The reason why the swap deal was done is because of the destabilization and him tapping him up the way that he did. That's the reason that the Inter felt forced to do it, and Moratti did a stupid thing there. He should have just played hardball, and he didn't. But it is what it is. But yeah, that's one of those things. And then the Real Madrid do this all the time as well. Barcelona do this all the time as well. The destabilization of players. I mean, Modric at Spurs was just what they did was just ridiculous. Fabregas, what Barcelona did was just gross when he was at Arsenal.
Do it all the time. Do it all the time. Xavi used to do it all the time. He used to go and speak publicly. He used to speak directly to players, and it's officially, legally, it's not going. It shouldn't happen, but it happens all the time. It's just how things are.
But like Real Madrid and Barcelona, they've turned it into a sport. I mean, Real Madrid did it to Barcelona, which I thought was hilarious. Remember Luis Figo? That was hilarious. That was brilliant.
And you got a pig's head as a punishment for it.
Yeah, but yeah, no, they are the ones that are the most brazen about it systematically. Yeah. So that's why when PSG did it to Barcelona, with Neymar, I loved I savored it like a delicious glass of Masetto red wine. I was like savoring it, all the Barcelona tears. I was swirling it, sniffing it like that, just enjoying the bouquet. Just generally, Barcelona tears are like exquisite red wine to me. That club and that fan base deserves nothing but misery and the hypocrisy of them. Anyway, that's all the questions we had sent in from you guys this week. Please do keep sending in your questions on DM on Patreon. We'll be back on Monday for a midweek for a deep dive. No confirmations yet as who will be doing it with. I'm kind of talking with a couple of people, and right now in Italy, people are going on holiday as well because it's Ferragosto, so it's not easy right now.
Good luck.
To book guests from Italy, I'll tell you that much. So yeah, but we will be doing a Q&A. We'll be doing another pod as well next week. But so watch out for that. And we will be doing it on Monday and Wednesday. So do keep sending in your questions. on Patreon DM, because that's just the easiest way to do it. And until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Ciao, ciao.